Joseph Pizza, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chishi Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
No more wasting time. Let's get it.
Now we're in the swing of having sex, but it's detached. Like we're doing it, but I don't feel particularly inspired or satisfied. He does, but that starts to wear off too. And he basically brings it to my attention. Like, do you remember the last time we had sex? And I was like, like a few days ago. And he was like, it was not a few days ago. And I'm like, it could not have been that long ago. And he was like, it was a month. It was a month ago. And I was like,
well,
wow, time flies, doesn't it?
So at that time you had just made up in your mind that this just won't be a part of the relationship.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Not a big part of it.
Not a big part of it.
No.
And you had come to terms with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I had come to terms
okay
with
marrying him and moving forward, knowing that that wouldn't be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Because again, I was like, this is a good man, Savannah. This is a good man. He is 90-10, not 80-20. He is this, he is that, he is that. Pfft. I done had enough, you know, like this is really like... This is really my crazy mindset. But also, and there's no shade to my friends, but my friends had a big influence on it
that,
too. Because
yeah.
when I would talk to them, this was also new for me. So I'm like, what am I, girl? I'm not getting.
And they out here in the streets like, girl, you better hold on to that.
Okay, you're like, listen, he is sweet. He is nice. Even when we're around, he's like, what y'all need, what y'all want. He's accommodating. He makes our home comfortable when we would receive people. So everybody loved him so much, me included. So talking to them was like talking to his cheerleader.
Be nice, they said. Be nice to her, they said. Get her flowers, they said.
Well, like, shut your mouth, take that coochie in that house and give it to him. Because he deserves it, you know? So, but it wouldn't work. And when he brought it to my attention, like, I felt bad. So now I realize I'm going into a cycle of having obligatory sex with my man.
Yeah.
Like, I am having sex with him, like, remembering, like, okay, I have to have sex with him because it's been a few days now and he deserves it.
There's so much to break down. Just so much to break down from this story. The idea that she wasn't physically attracted to him, I can understand. But then there's the other side of there are a bunch of dudes out here who these women mess with, who you wouldn't look at and say that man is conventionally attractive or that man, you know, has any physical, no homo. But you guys know sometimes women mess with guys who you're wondering, like, what were you thinking? I think her not viewing him as attractive, and I don't know what it looks like. Maybe, you know, he wasn't the best looking guy. Okay. And on top of that, him being this nice guy that women claim that they want. This nice guy that gets all the flowers, does everything right, takes his time, really added on to her and really not being attracted to him. Especially her being in the streets used to like more toxic, dominant type men. It all makes sense. Let's keep listening.
More of a chore than an actual desire.
And not to get like too like descriptive, but I even started just only doing it in certain positions because it allowed me to just get through it more. Like a lot of times from the back, because I just didn't have a connection with him in that way. So it would feel very awkward. Only at night. The best sex for a period of time was when I would go out because I done had a couple drinks. So I'm coming home and I'm like, you about to get it, boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it even got to a point where he was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that. You come home, you done had a couple drinks, you feeling real spicy and saucy, because I know, I can tell the difference. We have sex totally different. And I was like, none of my tricks, nothing is working. I'm not getting like psychedelically tricking him into like, this is okay. And it went on like that for a long time though, to the point where like he said to me like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like if I'm doing something wrong, why don't you just tell me? And I was like, I can't tell you because I don't think you're doing anything wrong. Like you were putting your best foot forward. I just am not, it's just not working for me. So it was hard. It was very hard. Like I would literally pray and probably shouldn't have been praying to God to fix the sex in my non-married
Married.
relationship. But you know, I just loved him so much. And this was, like I said, the first man who earned my love in the most beautiful way possible. And why couldn't I perform for him?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
What do you guys think? Comment down below. The man who earned her love, and why couldn't she perform for him? Comment down. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like, of all the men that I should have tucked these cookies in for
sure.
he's not one. The gate should just be flying open for him. And so I would cry. I would pray, like, God, please, like, just when I wake up in the morning, just fix it. Like, fix it. Fix me. Like, it's the ghetto. It's the bad things. It's all the bad experiences. It's my negative association to sex. And, like, I had, you know, unfortunate situations with sexual in my life. And I'm like, whatever those things are that are having this bad influence on how I used to think about sex and who deserved it, please take that away from me. Because I wanted to do this for him, like, so badly. And it broke my heart that I could never do it for him. Never do it for him. I'll never forget the day we sat on our couch in the living room and he was like, I just want to have a really honest conversation with you. And I just want you to, like, tell me exactly what it is. Like, not this cute answer, not what you think I want to hear. None of that shit you've been telling me that you're working on it and it's just you and you in your head and all that. Like, for real. And I told him the truth that, like, it's a disconnect. Like, I'm not naturally attracted to you in that way. And it's probably nothing that you could do about it. And his face, it was like, you remember Mortal Kombat when he would go in the chest and snatch the heart out? That's what I felt like I did. In this whole be honest with me, I was like, the man asked me for honesty and I gave it to him, but I don't think that that's what he was thinking I was going to say. And
Crushed
that
him.
was pretty much the beginning of the end of our relationship.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
Crushed him.
That was tough. That was tough because then the weird part, not technically weird, but weird for us, that was when the whole open relationship dynamic was introduced.
Oh my
And
goodness.
almost as a means to save our relationship. And in the moment, I didn't think that that's what it was, but I later learned that that was like,
Wait a second. This man got into an open relationship after she confessed to him that she didn't find him physically attractive. Did this man love pain? Yo, man, what's going on here? Did this man love pain? I've done too many videos on couples trying to fix their relationships with open marriages. This is insane. So now you're going to let other men bust the cheeks the right way because you can't do it. And you're going to be a part of that experience and maybe even watch. This is some wild shit.
Last ditch effort.
and a really, really, really bad effort because it pretty much tore us apart. It was one of the, I wish we had never done it. I don't have a lot of regrets about anything in life. That's one thing I very much wish we never did. For sure. Nope, it wasn't for us. It wasn't. And that's also not something you should do to save your relationship. I've said that on here before when someone talked about that or wrote in about that. Threesomes, bringing other people into your bedroom to save your relationship. Really, really, really bad idea. If it's something you all just like, you think it might be sexy or cool, great, knock yourselves out. But bringing a person in because you're trying to put a Band-Aid on something, super bad idea.
I bet you, I don't know this for sure, and I might be wrong here, but I bet you this most likely was her idea as a way to make him feel better and not necessarily his idea. A lot of times when guys have done too many of these videos with the open relationship stuff, women are the ones who introduce that because for a lot of guys, the thought of another man pounding his girl, his woman, his wife, it's a painful experience. There's one situation I did where the guy introduced it, and that ended up horribly too. He stopped what he was doing with the other chick and watched his wife get senselessly plowed by another man and saw her go through things he's never put her through in his life. This is a painful experience. That man was put through the most traumatic experience he's probably ever been through in his life. This is a wild story.
Yeah.
Super bad idea. So yeah.
That's rough. Even
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from a guy's perspective, I can only imagine
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, if you're with somebody and if you're truly committed,
Mm-hmm.
and the one thing that you can't do with anybody else, technically, if we're speaking of what you do in relationships, you can
Yeah.
have conversations with other people. You
Mm-hmm.
can do a lot of different things with other people that people still may not deem inappropriate. But sex is one thing that everybody universally is like, nah, unless we
Nah.
have an agreement that we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that your person says like, yeah, I'm just not attracted to you in that way, it sucks because it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't
Right.
even want to now do it with you anymore
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like if you do want to do it, it's performative or it's
Mm-hmm.
not something that you want to do. You're just
Yeah.
doing it because I say I want to
It's
do
like
it.
washing the clothes. It was a chore.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that has to be tough, and I
It was
can't
very
imagine.
tough.
So when it came to now, you said the beginning of the end and the breakup process. Can you talk a little about that and just to leave? We had an episode called "Leaving and Grieving,"
Mm-hmm.
like what that, you know, putting that relationship away and moving on, what that was like, and what you learned from that experience.
It was hard because breakups just suck.
Suck, yeah.
Yeah, they're hard. They're hard anyway. But I think it was like the writing was on the wall for a while. And the whole open relationship thing, it had introduced so many elements that we hadn't experienced. It had turned a very beautiful relationship into a mildly toxic one,
Right.
because there was deceit that was happening on both of our parts. Our open relationship endeavors
Deceit.
ultimately turned into cheating situations. I was so just crazily shocked by that because we took so much time to approach the open relationship carefully. Like we spent months like researching it and talking to people and deep diving into it to make sure this was what we wanted to do. We had established our rules, and I had even met, which was a weird story that I'll save for another day, but I had even met the woman that he was talking to, that he still to this day will never admit that he slept with, but I know he did.
How do you know he did? Guys, did you catch that? She said we both cheated. He claims he never slept with anybody. So what does that leave us with? Well, she's confessing that she did it. He says he did not. He says he didn't cheat. And she's assuming that he lied. But we definitely know she did because she's saying they both cheated on one another. I don't know, man. Comment down below. This is why.
I met her, and it was cool. So it was hard. It was very hard. Like our very first words of breakup were on Valentine's Day, which is like the last day you would expect to say
Yeah.
something like that, but it just wasn't handled like any other Valentine's Day. It was real low key. We didn't plan anything for each other. We were just in the bed at the end of the night, and I would turn my back to go to sleep, and he turned his back to go to sleep, and then like 15 minutes later, he was like, "We can't do this anymore," and I was just like, "Oh shit." Oh shit. I ain't even moved to like turn around and be like, "What are you talking about?" Because I just
You
knew.
knew.
I knew at that point he had caught me. Because he had put a tracking device on my phone, on my car. I believe he put a device on my car.
Oh, shit.
My patterns were switching up because I was cheating. And he called me.
And she started cheating on the man who bought her the flowers, did everything that every other man did it. She just wanted somebody else to just bust the cheeks, right? Wasn't enough. Painful, dog. And that man sat there and went through this.
While I was in the guy's house. I think I talked about this on
Yep.
last episode. And I looked around like, is he here? Oh my God, he's about to kill me. But he had a device on my car, and I had found panties in his drawer when I was doing his laundry one day, and a sex toy. So it had just gotten rotten. Like just
Yeah.
rotten little things were happening, and it was just like we started to just like not like each other and lose just general respect for each other. And so we lived together. At that time, I started working for the company that managed the property that we lived at. So it kind of got around in the job that I was going through a breakup. Bad things happened with like our apartment that I won't get into, but it put my job in jeopardy. The worst and probably only real arguments we had in 4.5 years came after we broke up. We had the worst blow ups of our time together after our breakup. But one of the nicest things that I can remember about that leave and grief period was that when I moved into my new place, one, he like helped move some of the stuff over there at the end, like little things.
Wow.
We had 2 dogs together, my 2 dogs today. He kept them for a couple days while I got my apartment settled. And then there were nights where it was just super hard for me to adjust to living by myself after living with him for 3 years.
What?
Where literally physically I just felt uncomfortable going to sleep. And sometimes I would just call him and we would just talk and cry together and do all of that.
This man was too nice, man.